Hello everyone and welcome to the Tiger Paw Software Business Building Webinar Series. This is a live webinar series that focuses on sharing industry best practices, helpful business tips, and valuable partner training for VARs, MSPs, and technology service providers. My name is Jeff Hughes and I'm going to be your host for today's call. The presenter today will be James Kernan. Today's session is the top 5 things you can do today to build your technology business. We anticipate the session to last for about 40 minutes, and then we'll open it up for questions. As a reminder, all of the sessions will be recorded, and all those who registered will get a follow-up email with the recording and related documents. Now let's get started with today's session. Let me hand the floor over to James.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate that. All right, good morning, everybody. Let's just dive into things. I'll go ahead and get started. Before I go through the agenda, I want to take us down memory lane. I want to step back in time a little bit. I want to challenge you to think back of when you started your business, the very, very beginning of the business. Really, actually, even before it started, I want you to think of that original idea that you had for your business. What did you want your business to look like? Who did you want to hire? What customers did you want to go after? How much money did you want to make? What was the plan? So you took that original idea and then you started your business. Congratulations. Now you're business owners. And let's fast forward to today. And my question is, how is your business performing? Does it really look like what you thought it would? Or are you one of those business owners that are out there running around with your hair on fire? Maybe some of you have lost control of your employees. And some of you may be blindfolded. And what I mean by blindfolded is you're running your business without knowing your numbers, without keeping your eye on the ball, and without knowing whether you're making money or not. My point is, it's hard. It's very, very hard. This industry is so brutal. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and there's so many outside factors that can hurt your business. And that's what's frustrating. There's things that you have absolutely no control over, but can adversely affect sales, growth, and profitability. And to me, the worst thing that keeps you up at night is debt. You know, as business owners, we're the ones who sign the personal guarantees. So nobody cares more about making sure we're making money and paying off our debt than we do. But again, that's that stress that that we enjoy. There's great rewards in this industry, but there's also some downside. The good news is you have a choice. You have a choice to continue down the road that you're on today, or you can just take control of the business and make it what you wanted in the very first place. All right, so here we go. So today I'm here to show you how to get your business back on track. I'm going to go through the top 5 things you can do today to build your business into that dream that you once had. The agenda will be number 1, creating your business plan, 2, setting goals and objectives, 3, creating a culture of success and what that looks like. Number 4 will be implementing and sharing your vision. And number 5 is running your business real time. And then we'll finish up with some Q&A. Okay? So one important point before I move forward is all of these 5 things are really intertwined. You can't just, oh, that's a great one. I'm just going to do number 1, or I'm going to do number 4. The reality is you should do all these in order, and you need to implement all of them. So that's my point. There's no one silver bullet today. It's 5 silver bullets that you got to work on together, okay? That's an important point. So let's start off with creating your business plan. So how about you? How many of you have a written business plan? I've been in the IT industry for a long time, and I've been a business coach for the last 10. I've worked with executives just like you to get businesses back on track and up to the next level. And the reality is most people don't have business plans. So don't feel bad if you're one of the ones that don't have one. Or if you do have one, there's probably dust about an inch thick on it, right? So remember this old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's what I meant to say. The key thing is you have to have a plan. But nobody has the time to implement one. I mean, you can pay a consultant lots of money to go out and build a very detailed 50-page plan, but most people don't have the time on that. So I'm going to take that pain out of it, and what we're going to go through today is what I call the one-page business plan exercise. I'm going to have a copy sent to everybody that was on this webinar, and we can make copies available for any of you that are listening to the broadcast at a later date. But I'll walk through what this one-page business plan looks like, okay? So here's the basic part of it. It's really broken down into 4 main sections. The first section is your competitive advantage. What's your unique selling proposition? What makes you different than all of your competitors out there from the customer's perspective? Because you need to be able to message this to your customers. You can't just say basic things like, oh, I'm really good, or I have lots of experience, or we're honest, we're the best. You know, those are things that all the competition's out there saying every day. So when we say it, we just sound like everybody else. And the reality is that I think the end user thinks we're lying. Well, I've worked with lots of people that said that, and they've burned me. You're saying the same thing. So the key thing is you have to be different. That's probably the most challenging paragraph in your one-page plan, and you take a little brain power. The other sections are a lot easier, but that's something that's important. So number 2 is the purpose. You know, what's the purpose of the business? What's the vision? What motivates you? Why are you doing this in the first place? Okay, that's the second section. The third section is really the annual sales, profitability, growth, goals. So you want to define what the basic goals are for the organization, big picture wise. Okay, and then the last part is the go-to-market strategies. You know, how do you get there? And those typically are, I've got my goals, and what do I need to implement in order to achieve these goals? So that's the 4 sections. Believe it or not, you can actually put this on a single page, and it's a very simple exercise. I'll go into a little bit more of that throughout today's presentation. One of the important pieces of this is there's a couple different ways to implement the exercise. One, either you or your partners in the business. Many of you may have business partners. You want your senior leadership team working together and collaborating on the one-page exercise. Or another way of implementing this is actually having your entire company do it. Depends upon the skill sets and the size of your overall company. But it's a fun exercise actually to give them a blank canvas to work with. It's a simple, the page 2 is a detailed explanation of what this basically, or page 1 and 2 looks like, are the details behind the plan, and then page 3 of the plan is an example template that you can use, so you know what one looks like. My point on this slide is I want to point out everything starts from the CEO down, and you've got senior management on the second layer, you've got middle management on the third layer, and then the foundation of the business is really the workers or the key employees. And everybody needs to be on board. Everybody needs to have goals that really map to the big picture. And I'm going to talk again a little bit more about that in a moment. So part 2, setting goals and objectives. So let's jump into that. So does your business have goals? Do you have them written down? And does your team members know what those goals are? So here's the real tough question, because most of you probably have goals, and most of your team members probably know what the goals are. But the tough one is, how are you tracking them? Are you tracking them on a spreadsheet? How are you following up and monitoring these? You know, the reality in a real-time business, you need to have this data available for everybody all the time. I'll use the analogy of I want to measure something. So let's say I'm a football player and I want to gain 10 pounds. I want to get on the scale multiple times a day and see what activity that I'm doing and if I'm getting the results. So I want real-time feedback all the time. And not just once a week, not once a month, not once a quarter. I want to know multiple times throughout the day at the snap of a finger. So that's important, that you've got the right tools in place to be able to do that. And then it just doesn't start with just the CEO or the overall company. You've got to have that throughout your entire organization, where every single person with every single goal that you have, it can be easy if you roll it out right, okay? So when I talk about goals, I like using the SMART acronym, you know, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So SMART goals, let me elaborate a little bit more. You always need to be specific on what the goal is. You can't be vague, especially if you roll it out to your organization or individuals. You always want to be specific and then measurable, and that's what I was just talking about. How are you going to measure it? I've seen people that have fantastic goals, but it's impossible to measure. And if you can't measure it, then why do you even have it in the first place? It's just going to be a waste of time. So the key thing is you want to have the right tools in place so you can measure things. And then attainable. Is it realistic, or is it just complete pie in the sky? Okay, so it's got to be, I like having stretch goals, but it needs to be attainable. And then relevant, and what relevant means is it's got to be mapped directly. It's got to be important to the big picture of the organization, kind of using that pyramid again. Individual goals or department goals have to map back into what the core vision and core goals are for the organization. And then time-bound. This is always something that people seem to forget, but there has to be a time limit or a deadline on what you're trying to measure. That's really, really important, okay? So the next one, creating your goals. I talked a little bit about measuring things right now, and then how do you measure things? And then what good looks like. So let me just really elaborate on what good looks like, because that's something I haven't really addressed yet. So in the Tiger Paw community, there's over 40,000 happy users in 28 different countries, and we've got a huge ecosystem within our community alone. And then within that, there's different little micro communities of different peer groups like TAG or True Methods, Robin Robbins. There's great communities within the community. And why I want to bring that up is it's important to collaborate with your peers. I'm a huge fan of sharing information with folks so they can be successful. And your peers, you'll find if you're not a member, I encourage you to become a member of something, whether it's the Tiger Paw community or some of these other great communities that we're a part of. They're all fantastic because they share information, it's relevant, and then you can compare what the best performing resellers are compared to you and what your goals are. And I always love using that from a comparison standpoint. You need to know what good looks like. And then the other thing is another simple way of measuring things is some of you may just want to take a previous quarter, best performing quarter that you've ever done, and maybe add 10% to it. So you can do a previous comparison to for the current period, if that makes sense. Okay? So let's jump into creating the culture of success. So here's an interesting quote I recently read, and I thought this was relevant for today's session. But customers will never love a company until the employees love it first. So this was a quote from Simon Sinek, the best-selling author, Start With Why. That's a great quote, and by the way, it's a great read. I encourage you to take a look at that. But it really rung true with me as I read that, and just stuck with me. I wanted to share that with you today because think about it. Do your employees really love your company? More importantly, do you love your company? And culture starts 100% with the leader at the top. And if you don't believe in what you're doing and you don't love what you're doing, then you can't expect the rest of your team to feel the same way. So there is some pressure on us as leaders in the organization to have a smile on our face and be optimistic, but be real and believe in the vision and where you're going, and take that passion because it's contagious and it will roll out through the rest of the company. And some of you may have more of an introvert personality, or you may not consider yourself the cheerleader in the company, and that's okay. You surround yourself with good people that are, because that's really important from a leadership standpoint. You need to have your team all on board. So I wanted to share that with you. And then the key thing is everybody in your company needs to be connected. You can connect people through duties and responsibilities and your goals, departmentally and overall company-wide. I believe everybody in your organization should have a written job description. They should have written duties, responsibilities, and goals. It all should be written down. It should be very clear to them each and every day if I did good or I did not do good. So take the mystery out, spend time, or have your department heads write that out for each one of the employees that are in their team. And then their goals all need to contribute to the big picture, because if you add up the sum of the goals in each department and then the sum of the goals for all the departments together, clearly that has to equal the overall company goal. I mean, it's a very simple way of looking at it, but that's right on the mark. And it surprises me how many people don't, you know, if you do the math, that their goals don't equal what the company goals are. Anyway, that's an important piece. And then the other key part on this that I want to share is people need to feel important. You know, there was an IBM study that was done years ago, and it was something that always stuck with me. It's, do you know the #1 reason employees leave their employer? Most people say it's money, but the reality is, so money is up there. I think that's #3 on the list, or #2, but the #1 overwhelming number was not feeling important or respected. Okay? Trust me, people want to belong to something bigger than they are, and they want to believe in the vision and where the company is going. So it's the leadership role of taking that business plan and your vision of your company and communicating and getting everybody excited about where you're going so they can be passionate and feel like they're a part of it. That's my point. They need to be a part of it, okay? So connecting the plan to your team, and this again, I'm using the part of the pyramid where every piece of the puzzle is important. And down on the bottom here is this blue square. This is like an individual workers and their goal. This is important because I wanted to, you know, basically if you take every worker in the company, the entire pyramid should be completely blue. So each person needs to see how their contributions, whether they meet their goal or not, how their contributions add to the big picture. Okay, that's important. So one of the other important pieces of culture is the tools that you use. I can't tell you how many times I've been in different businesses, and let's say they're a big Cisco phone shop, and you walk in and they have an NEC phone system. And it's like, well, wait a minute, why aren't you using the solutions that you're out touting for your clients? It's important that you use the solutions and the services that you're out touting. It makes it much more believable, and that's how you become experts, by using yourself as the initial guinea pig. One of the other key parts of this is you've got to have the right tools in place for your business. So clearly if you're repping it, then you're going to believe in it and you should be using it. You know, don't let the freebies from other vendors or distributors sway you. Maybe you could use that for backup product, but I feel, #1, it's very important to use what you're out there selling. So that's critical. And then #2 is you need a tool that you can run your business on, that everybody, every employee, every department has access to the same information. And that's one of the things that I love about TigerPaw. It's one of the most sophisticated business automation platforms out there that you can get to run your business. And it's all connected. Every department, every employee, from marketing and sales and purchasing and service desk and field engineers and accounting, all the way down to the payment processing. Everything, all departments and all processes can be done in one platform. That's the beauty of a tool like TigerPaw. And the ecosystem here is growing like crazy. We've got over 250 go-to-market and integration partners. And the reality is, the more this grows, the better the product gets, because we're better together and it's all one total solution. The other thing is, when you have the right tools in place, you can really control your growth. And without it, you'll be lost. And as a leader, it's important, it's our responsibility, frankly, to give the right tools to our team and the right resources to our team in order for them to execute and do their job. And again, when you've got the right tools in place, then you can really control what you're doing and what they're doing. You can have controlled growth. So another part of culture is accountability. And there was something, it's another great read. I love reading business books. This is one that will date me a little bit because it's the Ken Blanchard book from years and years ago, but it was called The 1 Minute Manager. And The 1 Minute Manager was awesome. This one part really stuck with me throughout my entire career, and it was something so simple, but this was kind of a foundation piece of what the 1 Minute Manager book was. But in managing people, it's really important that you do these 3 things. And number 1, setting goals and expectations in writing. Number 2, train your employees to meet and exceed the goals and your expectations of them. And then number 3, then you can hold them accountable. And I'll elaborate more on that in a minute. So set goals and expectations, train the employees to meet and exceed the goals and expectations, and then hold them accountable. Most people do a pretty good job with number 1, and then everybody wants to hold people accountable, but a lot of folks seem to skip number 2. It's where they fail to train their employees properly. And then in some cases you fail to explain what your expectations for that role are. So if you do a good job, and I've seen that, but you got to do these 3 things together in this order, and then the accountability piece is really quite simple. In accountability, most people hear that and immediately think, oh, that's negative. Accountability is bad. You're yelling at people. No, it's not. It's just simple communication. It could be great communication, like, oh, good job. Here's a big commission check. You did a fantastic job. That's accountability. But it really is just communication. You gotta communicate the good things, the bad things, the indifferent things. Just stimulate communication in your company. Incentives, like I just used an example of maybe a salesperson or an engineer over goal. Incentives are a great way to drive behavior. And then I love having transparency. And what I mean by transparency is having, I always like comparing the actual performance to the goals. Every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year, I like comparing the actual numbers or actual performance with the goals, and then publicize that either within your team or within your company. But I think it's important. I'd love to see your accounting person walk down the hallway and high-five your sales rep, saying, "Hey, good job yesterday. I saw you closed a couple big deals. I saw it up on the board." You want that camaraderie, and it builds good culture and good communication, because deep down people want to be a part of something. They want to feel like they know what's going on, and sharing that transparency is a good thing. You want to keep it under tight wraps. You don't maybe want your customers or your vendors to see that, so be careful where you publicize that. But if it's used properly, it highly motivates behavior, because it becomes a friendly competition when the numbers are up on the board. And typically the ones who complain about it are the low producers. It's interesting how that always works out. And then one last comment here, I want to talk about that training the employees. I see this happen time and time again. Number 2, don't skimp on that. That's probably the most important thing that you can do. Make sure they clearly understand what's expected of them and they understand how to do that job. And we have to give them the resources and get them trained, okay? So let's jump into implementing and sharing the vision. So sharing the vision with the team is really important. That's where you get the involvement from all the employees. And when you involve the employees, they'll all work harder to accomplish the vision, because they're going to feel like they're a part of it and they're going to buy into the plan. I like using a participative style of management and encourage the key employees to contribute, and again, make them feel like they're a part of the plan and the vision. So back to the original one-page business plan. Know how briefly I spoke about you could have, there's 2 ways of doing that exercise. You can do it with your senior management team. Typically that's done very quickly, where they'll do a first draft, and then you meet as a team, and then you fine-tune it, and then you're done. A way to get buy-in from everybody, it's a little bit slower of an exercise, but it's a great group meeting. But you can turn right around and give a copy of this exercise to most people or all people in your organization, and walk through, maybe appoint a project manager to kind of help facilitate this and put timelines on people. But let everybody do a first draft, get the ideas, and collaborate maybe in a second group meeting, and then you can fine-tune it and bring it all together. And then I like having a company presentation back where maybe you're doing a PowerPoint or you go through the one-page business plan, the final copy, and then give people copies as long as it's not confidential. I think it's a good idea to have the one-page business plan publicized to the team for internal purposes, okay? So again, I like creating transparency, let them be a part of it. It's that power of peer pressure when everybody has these goals and then you keep them transparent and publicized. I think that works very well. I've seen that work wonders in organizations. And again, just a reminder, when you roll out your departmental goals or employee goals, be as specific as you can. Try to make sure that it's within the employee's boundaries. Like if it's a marketing employee, make sure that it's within their scope of responsibility and influence. You don't want to have goals that they have nothing to do with or they can't control. Okay, so be very specific there. Also, a reminder about that one-page business plan. I call it a work in process. You want to, at a minimum, do it as an exercise once a year, but I call it a working copy. All right, so you want to have this as a living, breathing document. It's going to change. This industry changes so quickly. That's what I love about the one-page plan, because you can quickly move, make updates, and share it with your team, and everybody's on the same sheet of music. They know what's going on. Constantly evaluate what's working and what isn't working, and then you want to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And then set benchmarks for each of the departments to make sure that they're on track. And again, that's why I love tools like TigerPaw, because you've got real-time dashboards and list views that you can pull that information up quickly. So we talked about having one platform to run your business and one tool. And again, that's what TigerPaw really brings to the table. Everybody in every department is all on the same page. Their job's much easier when they're sharing all the same information. So let's jump into running your business real time. What does that look like? So times are changing. Some of you may have heard this before. You know, our industry involves people, process, and technology. And the foundation of your business used to be your people, but now it's flipped upside down, where now it's the technology. The technology tools that you use, like a TigerPaw, that's the foundation you're building your whole business on top of, because that dictates your processes, and that's how you train your people, and then that's how you make money. On top of it, I should have a big dollar sign on top of the pyramid there. But the foundation is your technology. You've got to have the right tools in place. And I have two slides here where I'm just going to show you a little bit about TigerPaw and the power there. The first slide I have is a real-time dashboard. It's a view for either a manager or an employee. And what I love about the dashboards here at TigerPaw is it doesn't just have to be, you don't have to be the CEO or the CFO in order to see information that pertains to you. You can be anybody based on your security levels in the company. You could be a technician, and you'll have the ability to look at all the real-time information going on with you. This one, I don't have time to go into all the details, but this is an example of the open sales orders year to date, projects that are ahead of schedule or behind schedule, closed tickets, invoice dollars, my productivity, what are my top incomplete tasks, what are the top symptoms that were being reported by our customers in the help desk. This is a real-time dashboard that updates every 90 seconds. So these are the kinds of things that maybe a specific employee, like a technician, will want to see. You can customize it to a sales rep, a purchasing person, an accounting person. Managers can customize it with their whole teams. Or the ones I love are more of the big picture ones for a CEO. And this one has, what are the top 10 opportunities? What are the top 3 salespeople producing month to date? How much invoice dollars have we done each month this year compared to each month last year? Again, I love comparing the actual goals to previous periods. Monthly tech time utilization, so that's a performance, one that you want to keep your eyes on. Sales order estimates versus actual, and then maybe the top paid, unpaid invoices or top unpaid invoices from an accounts receivable. You need to keep your eye on cash flow. So these are things that that I built myself to help keep an eye on things, and CEOs would want to keep as well. But there's dozens and dozens of different examples that you can customize. It's all flexible. You have 6 different graph views in different formats that you can use. So it's endless of what you can look at. And then a tool that I'm really excited about that just came out is the Matrix. And the Matrix is a very powerful business intelligence or data mining tool that was in our last release 3 months ago, 15R1. So the Matrix empowers you really to build dynamic, customized list views in real time with hundreds of thousands of different data points. So I'm a numbers guy and I love statistics, and any information that's in your system, you don't need developers to write a SQL query or a script and get these custom software programs to pull the data out. It used to be so difficult in years past, especially with our competitive product or competitors' products out there. TigerPaw brings all that power right to your fingertips, and again, based on the security levels that you set up for your employees at your company, based on the org chart, they all can pull information, very powerful tools. So again, I talked about it's our responsibility as leaders to give the right tools to the team members. That's exactly, this is the tool that will do that for you. So speaking of tools, remember that old saying, use the right tool for the job. I still visualize myself trying to pound a little nail in the wall with like a coffee cup, as a 10-year-old boy, and hearing my dad, "Whoa, what are you doing?" You got to have the right tools for your business, and I learned that a long time ago the hard way. And again, you've got to have the right tools for your team in order for them to be successful. Because when you do, you get the whole team on board. They'll focus on their goals. If they have the right tools, then they're going to be able to achieve those goals. When they achieve the goals, they're going to make more money, and you're going to make more money, and everybody will be successful. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I went through this fairly quickly. I went through these 5 things: creating your business plan, setting goals and objectives, creating a culture of success, implementing and sharing your vision, and running your business real time. So before I jump into any questions that you may have, I wanted just to give you a quick heads up. We've got a big conference coming up October 28th through the 30th here, just a couple months away here in Omaha, Nebraska. The first time that our national conference is right here on our home turf. Very excited about that. We have so many exciting things to show, some phenomenal parties and events all planned either on site downtown or in the local area. So there should be approximately 500 attendees that are at the conference. It'll be a record attendance for us. We're looking at selling it out. We've got 30 of our strategic partners there. We've got over 45 breakout sessions, very business focused. We've got some training set up for people if they want to learn more about TigerPaw. But that's a lot of the speakers are all coming from our ecosystem, that they're all complementary partners or from TigerPaw, but incredible speakers there. And again, it's a great opportunity to discover more of Omaha and the history there. So I encourage you to register and be a part of that before it sells out. And as a little promo for everybody that was on the webinar here, if you purchase, we'll give you a 10% discount off of the purchase of the product if you buy by the end of September. And then any new client that comes on, we're actually giving you 2 free tickets to the conference, so you want to take advantage of that. So if you like anything that I said and you want to learn a little bit more, the one key next step I would just say is just email us at sales@tigerpaw.com and request a demo. I want to show you the power of TigerPaw and what it can do for your business. All right? So with that, Jeff, I'm going to just let everybody know if you're interested in asking any questions, go ahead and type them now in the question box in the GoToMeeting console. I'll go ahead and read those off as the questions come up. I just have a few minutes left, so probably I've got time for about three questions. So, okay, the first question is, how do I get a copy of the one-page business plan? So we're going to send a copy of that out. It's a 3-page PDF. So all the attendees that registered for this, they'll get a copy of it. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call us here at the office. I'd love to walk you through that. But it's a great exercise. I encourage you to do it for your business. But you should be getting that within the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? Okay, the next question was how long are the demos? So the demos can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. There's a lot of different things. Normally, like what we do as a sales team is we really want to understand, so a lot of questions about who you are, what your processes look like, how you make money, and maybe where your pain points are today. And then we'll focus the demo around you and customize it around your top 3 pain points, and want to be able to demonstrate how we can fix those for you. We visualize ourselves here as problem solvers, and we're here because we care and we want to help you get your business up to the next level. Okay? All right. Jeff, it looks like that's it for questions, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for your time. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.